Hello, everyone. And welcome to today's session. A little about me. I head the support of Zoho Projects platform. Today, we'll be seeing about unlocking the power of automation using Zoho Projects with custom functions. These are agenda for today. So we'll see how to redefine the possibility using Zoho Projects, the what and the why. What is automation and custom function, and why do we need it? So I have listed a couple of use cases here. Chapter 1, Zoho Projects for IT consulting, Zoho Projects for the gaming industry, how we solve their use cases, Zoho Projects for agriculture, and finally Zoho Projects for Zoho, how Zoho uses Zoho Projects on a day-to-day basis. So as you all know, Zoho Projects is a platform, is a software which is being in the market for almost 18 years now. Initially, we did not even have the capability to add a subtask, but now we have grown in a vast manner. So even let's say if you have a behavior, like if you have some kind of automation which has to be achieved, so even that can be done using Zoho Projects, using the automation and the custom function feature. If you want to tweak a product behavior, or if you want something which is working, or if you want to connect multiple applications together or a third-party application, so that can be solved in Zoho Projects using the custom functions. So the what and the why. What is automation and custom function, and why do we need it? So automation in Zoho Projects can be considered in four different triggers. Number one is blueprints. I hope you would have seen blueprints in the yesterday's session. So blueprints helps you to automate your processes, streamline them accordingly, so that you can establish a life cycle for your task management system in Zoho Projects. The next one is workflow rules. You can set action-based triggers and time-based triggers using workflow rules. Business rules for issues and SLAs. So similar to workflow rules are for tasks and projects, and we have business rules which works for issues. So similar to project management and task management system in Zoho Projects, we have issue management as well, which can be you can list all your issues and you can keep a separate track for it. And finally, we have schedule function, where you can write your own custom functions and you can have them scheduled so that you don't have to trigger them manually using this, using all these things. You can provide a schedule, or you can create a schedule on a daily basis, weekly basis, or monthly basis, and you can let the scheduler take care of the work. It will automatically trigger the custom functions. And finally, so everything connects with the custom functions. So using all these trigger points, we have an option to trigger the custom function in Zoho Projects. And by the way, just to give you a small intro, so custom functions is Zoho's own scripting language, is written by Zoho Deluge. So they are reusable. You can customize it, and you can also connect. Let's say if you want to connect a third-party application in Zoho Projects, and if the integration is not available in Zoho Projects, then you can try using custom function and connect the applications with Zoho Flow. So these are the two words which you'll be hearing repeatedly in the session. So please bear with me: automation and custom function. Does anyone know the number of processes which involves in a logistic delivery? And it's at 25. It's around 20 to 25 processes. So, so what basically is a process? Any action, let's say if you have a purpose, and all the action which helps you to achieve that specific purpose can be defined as a process. So in Zoho Projects, we have blueprints which allows you to define your workflow, or define your statuses and transitions, which allows you to achieve the specific purpose. So the first chapter which I'll be talking about is Zoho Projects for IT consulting services. So we have a we got a, since I am into the support background, so we get a lot of customer stories and requirements from the users. So we had a user, they wanted, whenever a task status is marked as bug raised, then an issue should be created automatically. The task owner should automatically be the issue owner, and the issue should be linked to that specific task. So it using their previous system, everything was kind of manual work. They had to create a task separately, issue separately, and then assigning from task and issue. They had to do a lot of manual work. But how we solve this for the customer is, so we created a blueprint. So you can see that we have a simple blueprint here. So from open, it goes to development process. From development process, it's go to given to QA. So from given to QA, it can either go to bug raised or it can go to rolled out. So once the status is changed as bug raised, an issue will be created automatically. So all the white boxes are your statuses, and all the gray boxes in between are your transition. And the transition is where your automation takes place. So next, what we did was we wrote a custom function. So saying that the task should be created and the owner should be mapped accordingly. And then in the transition, so where we where I have highlighted over there, in the transition, I have associated the custom function. So whenever the transition is being triggered, then automatically an issue will be created and it will be assigned to the respective owner. I just I'll show you a couple of screenshots here, how the transition looks like, how it can be triggered. So on the top, you have the transition. Once I click on the issue transition, it will ask you whether do you want to perform it. And once it is done, the task status will be changed as bug raised. And you can see the issue has been associated with the respective task. And this is a small screen recording of how exactly it works. So, what I'm doing, what happens right now is the transitions, and all the actions happens in the background. So as soon as once the issue transition is performed, you can see the issue will be created automatically, and you can see that in the activity stream of the task. So there you can see the transition has been triggered, and you can see the issue created also in the bugs module separately. So this is how the blueprint works. So this is just a small example of how it works. But if you think that is that what blueprints can do, then we have something called as blueprints for software development. So this we use it on a date within our team, we use it on a day-to-day basis. Whenever a feature is created, or whenever a feature is submitted for reviews, it goes through multiple levels of approval. So from PM approval to UI and UX team and to content team, so everything. So this is a sample blueprint on which our team works. So for we have parallel transition as well. So first approval goes to PM, second goes to the UI, UX, third goes to the content approval. So likewise, it goes to multiple teams. And for each and every team, we have an option to set before, during, and after. Before in the sense, who can perform this action? Is it going to be the task owner? Is it going to be the project owner or the manager? So, or the person who's taking care of the approval process, you can select that. During in the sense, what exactly is going to happen while performing the transition. You can show up a custom message, or you can attach extensions, or you can also update fields while performing the during section. And after, in the sense, once the status is changed, the transition is performed, what will be the after action? You can trigger custom email alerts, you can trigger field updates, you can call a custom function, and you can trigger webhooks. So I believe most of them would have seen everything is so small. But if you think this is small, so this is the actual blueprint which we use on a day-to-day basis, and this is being used till now. So this has reduced a lot of manual work for our own team. So our developers whenever a feature is submitted for review, it goes through these many approvals, and only then the feature is rolled out. I am sure you you would have read this code. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. In Zoho Projects, we have something called as workflow rules. So workflow rules helps you to trigger certain actions based on a creation or updation or deletion. So based on each and every action, you have an option to set your customized reaction, which is you can trigger a custom function, you can call a webhook, you can update fields, or you can also trigger an email alerts. So for this, I would like to take up this interesting story of a customer which we met last year. So he was into a gaming industry, which is basically he makes casino gaming. So they are based out of India and Malta. So they develop both software components and the hardware components, and as well as he manages online gaming as well. So they have a separate website where they can play online casino. And they use Zoho Projects for waterfall method and Zoho Sprints for agile method. And to put together, they use a hybrid approach for project management, which is altogether a different, topic. And they have clients across, LA and SFO, across, across USA. How they, how did they, before Zoho Projects, they were managing the, this is how they were managing the projects. In CRM, they had to manage, they had to maintain everything manually. They had to have a CRM. Whenever a deal is won, they had to create a project manually in Zoho Projects. And then the deal value of the specific user has to be pushed manually into the project management system. And then the team assignment should be, has to be done manually. And finally, the project is kicked off. So these were all the three key challenges which they were facing. So, and they wanted to automate it using, in Zoho Projects, using the automation. So automatically create a project whenever a deal is won and sync the expected revenue of the deal into Zoho Projects as the project budget. That is number one. Automatically assign the tech team or the engineering team to the specific project and push the notification to a Slack channel so that the customer or the stakeholder is aware of the, aware of the specific status of a task or an issue. So let us, see about the first challenge. And as you all know, we have Zoho CRM, which is a flagship product. So by default, Zoho Projects integrates with Zoho CRM, where you can create projects, assign projects, associate projects manually to a specific lead, deal, or a contact, and so on. But how did we automate this is the, it was a challenge here. So first, what we did was, we, wrote a custom function. And in that custom function, we had to fetch all the details all the details of the deal amount, and so on. And what we did was, we created a workflow rule for projects. So whenever a project is created, then automatically it will trigger the custom function. So once this is done, so what will happen is, if the deal is marked as closed and won, then automatically the project will be created. The deal amount will be pushed, expected revenue will be pushed as the project's budget into Zoho Projects. So, yeah. So as you can see here, the deal had 250,000 USDs, and the deal amount has been pushed. The project has been created just with one single click. As soon as the deal, is marked as closed and won, a project has been created automatically. So this, it might seem like a small thing, but this has saved a lot of time for the customer, for the user who was facing this challenge. And the next one was assigning teams automatically. Assigning teams automatically, we have basically before we had custom functions, the only workaround which we had to use the project template. So you can create the project template, team into the project template, and then create a project using the template. But now, again, we wrote a custom function for the same, fetching the team and assigning the team based on the project group. If the the system will match the project group name and as well as the user group name. If it matches, then it assigns the respective team accordingly. And once the custom function is written, again, we wrote a project workflow rule. Upon a project creation, then execute the custom function. And this is how it works. This is a small screen recording of how it works. So this can be triggered, be it when you create a project from CRM or when you create a project from Zoho Projects, it can be triggered vice versa. So as soon as I select the project group as Tech Solutions, so the Tech Solutions team, user team, will automatically be added into the specific project. I'm sorry that the GIF is taking too long to load. Yeah. And the third challenge which the user was was facing was to push the notifications to Slack channel. And for this, we use the business rule for issues, because the workflow rules are for tasks and projects, but business rules are for issues. Altogether is a separate a feature. So again, you can trigger the business rule based on these criteria upon an issue creation or a bug creation, updation, and you can see the criteria over here. And you can choose when do you want the rule to be triggered on. And once that is selected, you can set the criteria and then associate the custom function to the respective issue. So similarly, we have an option to update the issue field. You can call a webhook, and you can call a custom function in the business rule as well for issue tracker. And here, here is a small recording. So I had to record each and everything because just by showing screenshots, it will not be easier for you to grasp up. So I took small recordings of each and everything. So as soon as I update anything, you can see a custom function has been triggered, and all the notifications, whatever you get regarding the specific issue, will be pushed to the Slack channel. And the link, if you click on the specific link, it will redirect me to the issue which I have created. So why they wanted this is because their stakeholders were not a part of Zoho. They had a separate Slack channel so that they can communicate with one another. So they wanted to know what exactly was going on with this specific task or a specific issue. So that is the reason we had to push all the notifications to the specific Slack channel. And yeah, webhooks, we have an option to post data and get the data using webhooks. So all you have to do is enter the webhook URL, and you have to enter the specific parameters here, what details you would like to get. If you want to get the bug name or the issue status or anything as such, all you have to do is append the parameters. And once it is done, so this is a sample webhook of how it is done. So again, it has to be associated through a business rule. So upon a field updation, whenever a status is updated, I want that status to be pushed into Zoho Flow. That is how I have designed right now. And then here in the second screenshot, I've mentioned as call webhook. I have created a webhook, and I have associated that to a specific business rule. So the status and the issue name will be fetched into. So this is a sample. I have posted the information in Zoho Flow. And this information, using Zoho Flow, you can use it in multiple other applications. If you have connected Zoho Flow with any other, a third-party software or Zoho's own software. And schedule functions, as mentioned. So we have an option to write your own custom functions and have them scheduled. So the reason behind this is we got a lot of customer requests stating that I want to schedule their data backup. So I want the export to be scheduled automatically and sent it to me on a monthly basis or on a weekly basis. Or we have a recurrence feature for tasks, but we do not have a recurrence feature for projects. So for that, you can write a custom function and you can have them scheduled so that your custom functions will be scheduled based on the schedule which you have set. So repeat type can be every hourly, daily, monthly, weekly, or yearly. And once it is done, you can choose how often do you want the schedule to run. And once that is set, your schedule functions will be created, and you can see when was the last run, when is the next run, whether the status is turned on or turned off. So this will automatically create the entities for you. It will automatically export the data for you. And the third use case is Zoho Projects for agriculture. In fact, this was very interesting to me because I didn't know that even agriculture had been using Zoho Projects, because all we got we used to get requirements for construction, for manufacturing, and for IT. But agriculture was something very new to me, and also we had launched Zoho Projects as a platform. So I just wanted to showcase how Zoho Projects was used in an agriculture project management. So as you all know, agriculture, and this mostly they deal with farmers and all. This is about the company. They are a collective farming initiative. So they have farms present across India and major cities in India, like Mumbai and Hyderabad. They employ farmers, and as well as they outsource them as well. So, and they they get, the public can invest on their farms. They will do the work, they will do the farming for them, and the public can get some kind of profit out of their farm as well. The challenge which they faced was each and every farm was a project for them. So whenever they get a farm, they will create it as a project. They'll create the task like irrigation, land plowing, all these were added as a task. And then each task will have work hours planned. So each and every task will have 40 work hours and 50 work hours planned. Assigning the resources. So farmers might not log in daily, and then they would not be able to see the task. So assigning the resources was a challenge. Adding time log again, because since if they do not log time, if they do not log into the software, then time log would not be possible. So that was a challenge. And finally, the task completion percentage of this specific use case has to be planned versus the worked hours, which versus the actual time. So for this, what we did was, for the user part, so we told them to add the farmers as a resource in Zoho projects. So the resource need not log in. So instead of the resource, like the user just for the assigning purpose, you can see it in the planned versus actual, where how how long a specific user has been assigned. So that part is done. But automating all these things. So the first one was we created a custom field. So as of now, as we speak, timesheet automation and milestone automation is in progress. So since we since it's in roadmap, but since we did not have it right now, so we had to work around the software a little bit. So we had to add a custom field called as worked hours in the customer system, where the user can add the log hours, so that the system will compare the custom field's value versus the planned work hours value. So first, what we did was we created a workflow rule, and whenever the worked hours is a custom field which we have added. So whenever the worked hours field is updated, then the system should trigger a custom function. So as you can see here, these are all the tasks of the user. And the planned work hours, instead of setting the planned work hours per day or percentage per day, we inform them to set the planned work hours in total. So from 1st of May to 30th of May, what is the planned work hours, 100 or 200, they can set that over there. And once it is done, as mentioned earlier, instead of adding the time logs in the timesheets in the time log section, we told them to add the time log in the work hours section. So the work hours on the top is 45 hours, but the work hours here is 40 hours. And based on that, the task completion percentage will be changed automatically. And if I enter the work hours as 45 hours in total, then the task will be closed, and they can get the report as an Excel format as well. So all they wanted was to keep a track of the time log, and based on the time sheets and the planned work hours, the task completion percentage should be calculated automatically. And similarly, they wanted an Excel file, which by default, which we have. You can also schedule the Excel, Excel report as shown in the schedule function. Or we have also provided a feature where you can export, export the tasks based on a schedule as well, which is provided in the UI level itself. And yeah, so after all, multiple industries. So Zoho projects, we are we use Zoho on a day-to-day basis. In fact, all the features or all the products which comes out of Zoho is based on our own requirement. So if we need a project management system, we build a project management, and then yeah, it's nice. Then it goes out to the customer. So that is how Zoho projects works. So we the first option which we have is the first option which we use in Zoho is SLA, escalation matrix for issues. Whenever an issue is filed with in Zoho projects with in our team, then if the issue is showstopper, it has to be actioned in 12 hours. If not, it should be escalated to the concerned team or the reporting manager or anything as such. So for this, we had we have an option called SLAs in Zoho issue tracker. And you can choose when do you want the SLAs to be triggered upon a bug creation, updation, or field updates, and so on. And then you can set targets for the specific SLA. If the severity set as showstopper, then that issue has to be closed before 4 hours. And you can choose whether is it going to be calendar hours or the business hours. It's done. So the level 1 of escalation will be triggered to the assignee, that is 2 hours before the issue due date, an escalation level will be triggered. Level 2 of escalation will be triggered to the project owner and as well as the assignee. And the level 3 can be triggered to, depending on your requirement, you can trigger multiple levels of escalation. Not only that, we have an option to customize the email templates completely. So you can enter your own subject, you can add your own content of the email, and you can have it triggered using a workflow rule, blueprint, SLA, or a schedule function. And also, using task and projects workflow rule, you can trigger email outside of the organization as well. A user, you do not want to have the user within the projects portal. Instead, let's say if I have my stakeholder or my client who's not a part of Zoho, so I can trigger email notifications outside of the organization as well. So here I can add an email alert. And the last option which we have is send notifications to other users. So that is where you enter the user's email address, which will automatically trigger the email whenever you perform a transition, whenever you execute a workflow rule or a business rule, and so on. And time-based workflow rules. So like how we have SLAs in issue tracker, like issues module. So we have time-based workflow rules for projects and issues. So you can execute a specific workflow rule not on an action, but based on a specific given time. So every daily, weekly, monthly, you can choose that. So, and you can select once every day, twice every day, or thrice every day. You can select the number of how many times you want it to be executed. And once it is done, you can either call a webhook, call a update a field, call a custom function, or associate an email alert to the specific time-based workflow rule. So this is sample of what we have. So if the criteria, if the end date is yesterday, then automatically change the task status as delayed and trigger an overdue email alert to the respective users. So if, let's say, if you have a list of tasks or project which are overdue, then if you want the system to automatically change the status as delayed or on hold or canceled, then you can use the time-based workflow rules and projects. So, I hope you would have got, a little bit of information out of the session, how the custom functions and, how it can be used in Zoho projects and how it can be triggered. So, with the help of the automation and with all the, features which we have planned in future, you might have, in the keynote, you would have gone through about the custom modules and all the other features. With that said, let me reintroduce to you Zoho Projects as a platform. Thank you.